We had some breaking news overnight. Was anyone awake when this news went down last night? Nope.
No. Schefter?
No. Schefter was. And Schefter seemed like he was up all night. I know Stephen A. was probably traveling. So we all woke up to this news this morning of what the Giants are doing. Good morning, everybody. Hello, Stephen A. How are you?
Good morning. I just want to start off by saying good morning to you, Shay. Good morning to the crew. And I wanted to apologize because I know that as tight as D.O. and RC are, they miss me. And I miss you too. But, you know, if you see the background, what happened is that I have been summoned to Port Charles. Brick has been summoned to Port Charles to protect my mobster. You know, since
so I have a question.
And not there.
Will you also be Roscoe from Martin sitting in the hall being like, Gina, because you sound like your nose stopped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like Roscoe right now.
It is a little stopped up. It is a little stopped up, but that's all right. You didn't have to bring up my allergies. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to let the American people know about my allergies.
Also, not one person at this studio said, man, I really miss Stephen A. this morning.
Oh, see, now that's
not one person.
See, that's not nice.
Not one person.
Stephen A. don't.
Dan says it every day. Dan says it every day.
Yeah, I will say,
Let's go.
your suit looks good today. He's not here to tell you you look.
He would find some way to think at it.
He would hate on you.
Thank you so much, Shay.
All right, let's get to the breaking news that happened last night.
They can.
The Giants closing in on hiring John Harbaugh. Harbaugh spent the last 18 seasons with the Ravens, where he had only 3 losing seasons. This year, the Ravens were the only team that were 1 win away, really 1 field goal away from making the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Giants have gone 7-27 over their last 2 seasons combined. Certainly, this is the type of coach a franchise like the Giants could use in terms of Harbaugh. Now, this is not officially official. It sounds like they're still working out some numbers and some contract details. But nonetheless, Stephen A., what's your reaction to this?
So. John Harbaugh definitely deserves the job. He definitely deserves to be a head coach. But am I thrilled? Am I over the moon about it for a New York Giants franchise that's been 7-27 over the last 2 years? Not particularly. I think that this is one of those situations where, you know, you still got the GM that's there. And if you're John Harbaugh, you're bringing Todd Monken with you, the guy that doesn't know when to give Derrick Henry the ball half the time. So, I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And I'm saying, my God, you didn't want to give Derrick Henry the ball. You're going to give it to Scatterbull? I just don't know what you're going to do right now. It's not a bad hire. John Harbaugh's been in the NFL coaching for 18 years. He's a Super Bowl champion. I get all of that. My whole point is that you had Lamar Jackson for the last 7.5 years and you couldn't get over the hump. We know how you guys struggled this year. We've heard noise coming out of Baltimore about how he seemed a bit detached and whatever. I like John Harbaugh. I like him a lot. I know that the man can coach. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way whatsoever, but he's not walking out the door in the same fashion that Mike Tomlin walked out the door. He was pushed out. It was an owner that had a press conference yesterday that told the world, you know what? They said, when asked if Loop had made that field goal, you know, would that have changed things? He said, yeah, for about a week. The owner said that. So, you know, at some point in time, they just reached a point where whatever we used to think of John Harbaugh, they were indicating that some luster has dimmed from that shine. And I'm looking at it from that standpoint and thinking about the New York Giants. They've got talent on both sides of the ball. That's good. Can you keep Jaxson Dart out of concussion protocol? That's going to be interesting to see. It's a good hire. I'm just saying it's not knocking my socks off. That's all.
It's knocking anyone's socks off?
You seem like your socks are.
I think it's a great hire. I think this is the best day the Giants have had since they won the Super Bowl. This is their biggest win since they've won their last Super Bowl. This is a man that if you just looked at Harbaugh and you thought of adjectives to describe Harbaugh, you would say accomplished, established, stable, consistent, connected, leadership. This is an enormous hiring for the New York Giants. The New York Giants haven't had this level of an adult in the room, certainly since Tom Coughlin. This is a face of the NFL type of franchise, one of the blue blood franchises, and they're hiring kind of one of the blue blood face named families of the NFL. This is a Harbaugh whose, track record as a football family speaks for itself. This is a coach that has been unbelievably successful with all kinds of different teams and different style and kinds of quarterbacks. This is a huge get for the New York Giants. I think this sets the Giants up to immediately contend as a playoff football team. I'm not going to sit here and tell people they're in the playoffs. I'm saying that with the belief that Todd Monken is going to be their offensive coordinator, because I do believe that's a huge part. But Stephen, it's a big deal, man. Like, this is a coach that wins and on a consistent basis sets a standard of how they're going to go about doing things. And it's not just coach speak. This is a daily walk that he exists or establishes in your building. I think it's the best day the Giants have had in many, many, many years.
This is a huge win for the Giants because the Giants don't have to guess. John Harbaugh has the least questions about him amongst any coach that's going to be in this coaching hire or this coaching cycle. They've had to guess. They had to guess on Ben McAdoo. They had to guess on Joe Judge. They had to guess on Brian Daboll. You don't have to guess about who John Harbaugh is. You don't have to guess about, can John Harbaugh lead a franchise? Can John Harbaugh be the face of a franchise? Because what the Giants need is someone that doesn't need Jaxson Dart to speak up for them, because they're going to go to the head coach and believe in his experience, believe in his wisdom, believe in his process. That's what the New York Giants need. The New York Giants said, you know what? This is what we did with Tom Coughlin. Though he hadn't won a Super Bowl in Jacksonville, he had been to AFC championships. He had started an entire organization. He had discipline. He had organization. He'd understood how to delegate, and he knew how to win. The Giants need somebody that knows how to win. Now, there's going to be a part of this that says, well, John Harbaugh isn't what he was in the beginning with Ed Reed and with Ray Lewis, and you didn't find a way to win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. Winning Super Bowls is hard.
Yeah.
Ask Andy Reid, who was an excellent coach in Philadelphia, who had gone to 4 NFC championships, who had been to a Super Bowl. And then he got to Kansas City, and he continued a Hall of Fame career. John Harbaugh needed something new. He needed a new space. He needed a new place. He needed a new locker room. And I think this time the Mara family knocked it out of the park with this hire.
Well, see, this is the thing. And this is the thing that concerns me about people like y'all. You know, I keep trying to tell y'all, you know, your knowledge of football, as superior as it is, also gets in your way. It gets in the way of practicality. Like, we're going to sit up here, right now this morning. And again, I want to emphasize this, Dan, because this is very, very important. I am in no way saying that John Harbaugh is not a damn good coach who has not accomplished great things on the National Football League. Of course, this is not a bad hire. I'm not implying that as well. The way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys, I'm looking at the Washington Commanders, and then I'm looking at the New York Giants and saying, is it a gimme that they're going to go to the playoffs because John Harbaugh just arrived as their head coach eventually? No, it is not. Because why? What have you done for me lately? I know you listen to Janet Jackson, RC. I know you do.
Yeah.
This is what you like. What have you done for me lately? And what has he done for them lately? You've looked at the Baltimore Ravens. They're fresh off of underachieving. You're looking at an owner that is indicating to you that he's lost some of his luster. You're hearing noise emanating out of the locker room, talking with the same stuff being said by players. So yes, it's entirely plausible and possible that a new start can amend a lot of different things. I will remind you that even though folks weren't like thrilled through the moon because of the resume per se, when Brian Daboll first arrived, New York Giants fans were a bit excited because of his work with Josh Allen in Buffalo. His first year there, what was he doing? He was coach of the year. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, what happened from that point forward? They nosedived as a franchise. These are the New York Giants that we're talking about here. And so I'm going to look at the New York Giants and I'm going to say these years of ineptitude, since you won the Super Bowl in 2011, how god-awful you have been as a franchise since that period of time. This man is going to walk in here and all of a sudden the savior has arrived and the metamorphosis has kicked in and change has automatically arrived. No, I'm not looking at it that way. I see talent on the Giants on both sides of the ball. I see a man that's experienced, that has won and knows how to lead. I get that part. So some of the things that Brian Daboll may have been challenged with, John Harbaugh may not be challenged with. But in the end, I also get to look at your latest accomplishments. And I'm looking at the roster that you had in Baltimore. And I'm saying to myself, yo, how come you couldn't do more with that? The only great thing that I could say is this. John Harbaugh did win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, not Lamar Jackson. So maybe a quarterback with the running ability of a Lamar Jackson potentially worked